everyone, it's Rebecca and I am going to be participating in the Rory Gilmore 24-hour readathon that is taking place on August 29th from midnight until 11:59 p.m. And this readathon is hosted by Carolyn Marie Reads and Ciara Foster. I will link them down below. And I thought today it might be fun to go through the Rory Gilmore Reading List, which is a list of all the books that Rory Gilmore read throughout the Gilmore Girls show, and tell you which ones I've read, which ones I haven't read, and get an idea of what books I might want to read for the readathon. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm using the list that is on Goodreads. I'm not sure if this actually includes everything or not, but that is the list I'm going to base everything off of. I know there's also a BuzzFeed one that I think is more like a checklist where you can check off which ones you have and have not read, but I can do that on Goodreads based on my read books. So yeah, I'm going to be going on Goodreads, and I'll put a link to that below as well. So the first book on the list is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which I have read. Lots of controversy over that right now. Not going to go into it. J.K. Rowling has awful views, and I don't support that. The next book on the list is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I have not read anything by Jane Austen, actually, so this might be something that I would like to pick up. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, of course. I've read all of the Harry Potter books. The next book on the list is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I did read this. I had to read this in high school. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. The Great Gatsby, of course, by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It's funny that I gave it 2 stars because this would probably be what I would consider my favorite classic. I like the idea of it better than I like the book itself. Next we have 1984 by George Orwell. This is on my want to read list on Goodreads, but I have not read it yet. Next is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I honestly haven't even heard of this book. Next we have Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. I had to read this for, I think, 8th grade because we took a school trip to Washington, D.C., and saw the Holocaust Museum, and this was kind of our background knowledge about that. The next book is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I am currently reading this book because I am also currently reading Midnight Sun by Stephenie Meyer, and supposedly Edward Cullen is based off of the Edward in Jane Eyre. And I'm actually really enjoying Jane Eyre. It might become my new favorite classic. Next on the list is The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is one that I am actually interested in reading because I believe one of my favorite video games, Layers of Fear, references it, if I remember correctly. Next we have The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I feel like I might have tried to read this at one point and then put it down. I'm not sure. Next there's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This might be one that I pick up simply because I am enjoying Jane Eyre so much, and Emily is Charlotte Bronte's sister, I believe. Next on the list is Fahrenheit 451, and I read this for fun and I read it for class once, and I enjoyed it. However, it was a little strange, I guess. I've read a few other short stories by Ray Bradbury, and they're always a little strange. The dystopian worlds are very, very interesting to me, though. Next on the list is Little Woman, and I'm kind of sad I haven't read this. My Nana gave me a copy of this book because she enjoyed the book, and I still haven't read it yet. Now, the next book is The Fellowship of the Ring, which is the first book in the Lord of the Rings. I have no interest in reading this. I read The Hobbit in high school, and I hated it. I know The Lord of the Rings is supposed to be very different from The Hobbit, but it's the same universe, so to me they're just too intertwined, and I really don't enjoy fantasy that much. It doesn't like stick in my brain very well. So I honestly couldn't tell you anything about The Hobbit, and I'm pretty sure I've read through it twice, and we had to watch the movies in school. This next book, I'm not sure how to pronounce. It's Siddhartha. Never heard of it. Frankenstein, of course, by Mary Shelley. When I was in school, this book was an option for, I think, 8th grade to read, but the teacher had like each class read different books because there weren't enough books for the whole grade to read one at the same time, if that makes any sense. I am interested in this. I am already ready for fall. So anything like spooky, creepy, just weird is something I am interested in at the moment. I just read Carrie by Stephen King, and now I want to read all the Stephen King books. So yeah, that's how my life is going right now. I'm ready for fall. Anna Karenina? Haven't heard of it. The Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. I am a little surprised that I've never read Alice in Wonderland, but I definitely should. Letters to a Young Poet I have not read. Brave New World is another one I had never heard of before. Romeo and Juliet I gave 1 star to. Again, I had to read this for class. I hated every minute of it. The Catcher in the Rye is another book I had to read for school. Didn't really enjoy it. Hamlet, also read my junior year of high school. I don't remember not liking it except for the fact that we had to read it out loud in class. Candide? Haven't heard of it. The Return of the King, which is the 3rd book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm not sure why the 2nd one isn't on this list. Maybe it's further down. But yeah, again, I don't really have an interest in reading it. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, haven't read it. Madame Bovary, I actually have read. I read this for a college class called Banned Books. That was a really fun class, except for the sheer amount of reading that had to get done, because we pretty much read a book per week. And Madame Bovary was one of them. I guess the subject matter could make people uncomfortable, which is why parents don't want younger people to be reading it, but not terrible. Not my thing, but not terrible. Gone with the Wind, I actually had to think about whether I read this or not because it was extra credit in my middle school if we read the book or watched the movie and had our parents sign off that we had done so. I remember watching the movie vividly because I rented the VHS tape of it, and I had to go to my grandma's house because my parents' VHS player was not working. I remember that, but I don't remember reading the book. I might have read a section of it, but I don't think I finished the book. The Time Traveler's Wife, haven't read it. Sense and Sensibility, another Jane Austen book, and out of all the Jane Austen books, I think this is the one that sounds most interesting to me personally. Of Mice and Men, I did read that. I read that my sophomore year of high school. Again, not that bad a book, although I do notice that with these books I had to read for school. The ones I had with a teacher I liked more tend to be the ones I find not as bad as the ones that I read with a teacher I didn't like so much. Northanger Abbey, haven't read it. Another Jane Austen book. Swan's Way, haven't heard of it. The Kite Runner I have heard of, haven't read it. Crime and Punishment, haven't read it. The Da Vinci Code, what I find interesting is this is a sequel, and the first one also is not on the list. This book was really popular back when I was in like 8th grade for some reason, and I think I do own the book, or I might have gotten rid of it or given it away, but I did at one point own this book, but I have not read it. Rebecca is something that I also haven't read. I think with this I feel weird reading about a character with the same name as me. There is an adaptation coming out for this book soon, and there is a read-along happening for it, so I might actually pick this up soon. Lord of the Flies, I read my junior year of high school. It wasn't bad, very strange, and the essay I had to write about it was also very frustrating. I had to do a lot of research on Freud and the ego. The next book is Emma, another Jane Austen. Rory really seems to like Jane Austen books. I don't know how to pronounce this one. Don Quixote? Don't know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that one. 100 Years of Solitude, haven't read it. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, I also had to read my junior year of high school. Why do I feel like I read a lot my junior and sophomore year of high school and not so much my senior year or my freshman year of high school? The Trial, haven't read. Charlotte's Web, I had to read this in elementary school. Next is The Metamorphosis. Oh, here's the second book in the Lord of the Rings. Again, haven't read it. I'm not sure why those aren't in order. The Virgin Suicides, haven't read it. A Room of One's Own, haven't read it. Macbeth, again, read my junior year of high school. Actually, funny story about Macbeth. One of our assignments was that we had to reimagine a scene from Macbeth as a more modern scene. So we had to reword everything essentially to be modern. And I played this character that was just like screaming about something at the table. And I am such a shy, quiet kid that like when my teacher saw that, he was like, I want Rebecca to have that kind of energy in class. And it was just so embarrassing because I'm not really one to speak up. Now, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is one I'm very interested in. Maybe I could read that and like Frankenstein. That would be fun. The Lovely Bones. This was a book that was an optional read in my senior year of high school, and my mom would not let me read it. Atonement, I haven't heard of. Slaughterhouse-Five might be interesting. Life of Pi was one that I had wanted to read before the movie came out, but I still haven't seen the movie, so I guess it doesn't matter, but I would like to read it before I see the movie. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, that is one that I think would be fun to read and see, you know, like the origin story and how it actually is. The Scarlet Letter is definitely one I would like to read. There are so many references to the Scarlet Letter, and I feel like I just don't understand it enough because I haven't read the classic. Great Expectations, The Grapes of Wrath, haven't read it. The Shadow of the Wind is not something I've heard of before. Carrie, like I said, I just read this. I really enjoyed it. I hear a lot of people don't like it, but maybe because it was my first Stephen King. I didn't have expectations for what it would be like. I hadn't seen any of the adaptations for Carrie, so I had no idea what to expect. So I really enjoyed being able to go into it with that mindset, because otherwise I might not have enjoyed it as much. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. I'm pretty sure I might have read this, but I don't remember, so it's not marked as read. The Joy Luck Club, haven't read. On the Road, haven't read. A Tale of Two Cities. Mrs. Dalloway. The Outsiders, I read in middle school. This was one of the first books that I had to read for school that I actually enjoyed. And I enjoyed it enough to buy a copy for myself, which I never reread. It just sat there, and I think I might have gotten rid of it now, or my mom might have taken it and put it with her books. In Cold Blood, haven't read. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. If anybody has not read this picture book by Dr. Seuss, pick it up. Dr. Seuss is amazing, okay? I love the Lorax. I quoted the Lorax on my college graduation cap. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Haven't read it, although I believe we were supposed to in one of my classes and ran out of time. The Secret Life of Bees. Haven't read it. The Shining on my want to read list. Can't pronounce Pygmalion. Haven't read it. Loved. Othello. A Clockwork Orange. Catch-22, Oliver Twist, A Room with a View. The Count of Monte Cristo I have read excerpts from. I don't feel comfortable marking it as read when I only read such a small excerpt of the book itself, but what I did read I really enjoyed, so I would like to pick it up eventually. Middlesex, haven't read. The House of Spirits, haven't read. Angela's Ashes, nope. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, nope. The Iliad, I had to read this my freshman year of high school, or part of it, and then again in, I feel like it was a class on like ancient civilizations in college. Don't remember what it was called, but it was something like that. Didn't enjoy it. Heart of Darkness, nope. Dead Souls, nope. The Name of the Rose, High Fidelity, War and Peace. Kind of surprised I didn't have to read that in school. Night, Moby Dick. Now this is like my dad's favorite book. He loves the movies and he bugs me about reading it almost every year when there's like the movie comes on TV again. Maybe eventually I will. I think I did try to start reading it and got really bored. Fun fact about Moby Dick and Herman Melville, there is a boat called the Pequod, Pequud, in the book that he claims is named after a Native American tribe in Massachusetts. But not only did Herman Melville spell the name of the Native American tribe incorrectly, it's supposed to be Pequot, but he also didn't say where they were from correctly. It is actually a Native American tribe from Connecticut. So there's a history lesson for you. Moving on to the list again. Franny and Zoe, haven't read it. The Godfather, haven't read it. The Awakening, haven't read it. Pretty much after the first page of this list, I have not read anything. The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. I have been to the Hemingway house while on vacation. It's very beautiful. Clearly didn't inspire me to pick up any of Hemingway's books, but maybe eventually I will. The Art of War, nope. Is it Beowulf? Is that how that's pronounced? By Unknown. Interesting. Didn't know that. On to the next page. We have Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, haven't read it. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Nickel and Dimed on Not Getting By in America. That might be an interesting one to read. David Copperfield, haven't read it. My Sister's Keeper, haven't read it. Stuart Little, I am surprised I haven't read because I really loved the movie as a kid. And the sequel, Christine by Stephen King, definitely something I want to read. Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. See, I'm not really all that interested in reading more Shakespeare at the moment. Girl Interrupted, nope. Waiting for Godot, nope. Shakespeare's Sonnets, nope. Rosemary's Baby, The Master and Margarita, Rapunzel, As I Lie Dying, Tender is the Night, The Canterbury Tales. I had to read this for my class in college. I hated it. It was so difficult to keep up with and try to remember all the aspects of it. The Divine Comedy, nope. Pinocchio, nope. Tuesdays with Morrie. The Jungle by Upton Sinclair is one that I have been interested in since I heard about it. The Little Match Girl, nope. Valley of the Dolls, nope. Flowers for Algernon. Please Kill Me, The Uncensored Oral History of Punk, nope. The Namesake. Walden is one I have read excerpts from, quite a few excerpts from, because I'm an environmental science major. Why didn't I have to read the full book in school? No idea. Daughter of Fortune, nope. Vanity Fair, nope. The Year of Magical Thinking, no. Me Talk Pretty One Day. Out of Africa, The Devil in the White City, A Separate Piece, Lady Chatterley's Lover, Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress, A Passage to India, Ulysses, The Complete Stories and Poems by Edgar Allan Poe is one I am interested in. The Five People You Meet in Heaven, reading Lolita in Tehran, a memoir in books, An American Tragedy, The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. The Crucible I did read, once again, my sophomore year of high school. Hated it. The Red Tent, nope. Bel Canto, nope. The Nanny Diaries, nope. The Second Sex, nope. The Story of My Life, no. Leaves of Grass, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Richard III by William Shakespeare, Death of a Salesman, nope. Fountainhead, no. The God of Small Things, no. Inferno, Dante's Inferno. Another one I had to read for that same class during college. Didn't like it. Although I liked it more than the Canterbury Tales because I gave it 3 stars. Oryx and Crick, nope. Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County, nope. Seabiscuit, An American Legend, The Group, Less Than Zero, Peyton Place. Read that, I believe, also for the banned books class. Can't remember why it was banned, and can't remember any thoughts about it, other than I gave it 2 stars because I didn't love it. The Portable Dorothy Parker, Kitchen Confidential, Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly, Comedy of Errors, Eva Luna, Stiff, The Curious Life of Human Cadavers, nope. Holidays on Ice, nope. Cujo is one I would like to read because I want to read all of the Stephen King books. Who Moved My Cheese is one I had never heard of, and I'm actually kind of intrigued by the title alone. A Streetcar Named Desire. Freaky Friday is definitely one I would like to read. Do you guys remember the movie with Lindsay Lohan? I had that movie on repeat as soon as it came out on DVD, and my parents hated me for it, but I loved it. The Naked and the Dead, Love Story, Our Mutual Friend, R is for Ricochet, A Confederacy of Dunces, The Sound and the Fury, Memoirs of a Dutiful Daughter, The Graduate, The Yearling. I had this book at one point. I think I heard it was a sad animal story, and I gave it away. The Code of the Woosters, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Daisy Miller, Gender Trouble, Feminism and the Subversion of Identity, Howl, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, The Miracle Worker, a play, Eloise. Now, I've seen a bunch of Eloise movies. I don't remember ever reading the Eloise book, although I feel like I definitely would have as a child, but I think I might have read the Eloise at Christmas time book and not the original Eloise book. Not sure about that. Empire Falls. Fight Club is on my want to read list. Demons. The Odyssey. Again, I read this my freshman year of high school, and then I had to read it again in college. Hated it more the second time, I think. I think the first time I was like, this is kind of interesting, and the second time I was like, oh, this is awful. Helter Skelter, The True Story of the Manson Murders is intriguing to me. The Lottery and Other Stories. The Kitchen Boy, a novel of the last Tsar. Sybil, the classic true story of a woman possessed by 16 personalities. This is one I definitely want to read. I am very interested in dissociative identity disorder. I minored in psychology, so things like that just are interesting to me. And I think that if I had gone that route instead of the environmental science route, I definitely would have wanted to specialize in dissociative disorders. But that wasn't the right path for me, but it might be interesting to read about it. I'm not sure if this is actually the most accurate book or not, or how it portrays the disorder itself, but I am interested. How to Breathe Underwater, a heartbreaking work of staggering genius, Yoga for Dummies. I think I need that book. Notes of a Dirty Old Man, Nervous System, or Losing My Mind in Literature. Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, Snow White and Rose Red. That's one I would be interested in reading, as well as Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, actually. The Gnostic Gospels, S is for Silence, Little Dorrit, Encyclopedia Brown, Boy Detective. The Razor's Edge, I'm with the Band, Confessions of a Groupie, When the Emperor Was Divine, novels by Dawn Powell. The Opposite of Fate, Memories of a Writing Life. The Good Soldier, Henry V. Henry the Fifth? Just says Henry V. The Collected Stories, more novels from a different year. The Children's Hour, The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, Sophie's Choice, Everything is Illuminated, Bitch in Praise of Difficult Women, Ethan Frome, Emily the Strange, Bambi. Now, I noticed that Bambi is actually on this list twice, and I think maybe it's meant to be the chapter book and nobody removed the picture book version from the Goodreads list. Regardless, it is on here. A Mencken Crestomathy. I'm sure I just butchered that pronunciation. The Mysteries of Udolpho. Terms of Endearment. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. Love Medicine. House of Sand and Fog, Cousin Bet, Savage Beauty, The Life of Edna St. Vincent Millay, Driving Miss Daisy, The Manticore, Shane, Hockey for Dummies. Now that is one I have no interest in. El Minot P, A Novel in Letters, A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway, Lies and the Lying Liars Who Tell Them, A Fair and Balanced Look at the Right, New Poems of Emily Dickinson, The Art of Fiction, My Lay 4, A Report on the Massacre and Its Aftermath, Complete Stories by Dorothy Parker, Backlash, The Undeclared War Against American Women, Living History by Hillary Clinton. Now, I am actually interested in this book. I didn't love Hillary Clinton, but I liked her much more than I liked Trump, so I am interested to hear any of her thoughts, actually. I know this was long before this time, but I think it's interesting to learn about past experiences of people as well. Henry IV, Part 2. The Peace of Nicias and the Sicilian Expedition. Selected Letters by Dawn Powell. The Scarecrow of Oz, number 9 in the series. I didn't realize there were so many books in the Oz series. My goodness, I'm gonna have to look into that. The Archidamian War, Finnegan's Wake, The Vanishing Newspaper, Saving Journalism in the Information Age. Brigadoon, The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman. Pigs at the Trough, How Corporate Greed and Political Corruption are undermining America. I feel like we need that right now. George W. Bushisms, The Slate Book of Accidental Wit and Wisdom of Our 43rd President. Now, I think this book could just be funny and amusing to read, especially now that it's been so long since he's been president. Songbook, Brick Lane, Pushkin, A Biography, Damselfly, Roman Fever, Price of Loyalty, George W. Bush, The White House, and The Education of Paul O'Neill. Inherit the Wind, The Holy Barbarians, The Song of Names, The Mojo Collection, The Ultimate Music Companion, The Crimson Petal and the White, Robert's Rules of Order. Now, interesting about Robert's Rules of Order is that we had to follow this in our student government in college, but nobody was forced to read it. It was just kind of the basics were explained to us. So I do have a sense of what this is about. I could maybe mark this as read because I feel like I have much more of a sense than a lot of people would, because not only did student government follow it, but I also ran three different clubs on campus. Can't keep track anymore. And pretty much everybody followed Robert's Rules of Order to some extent when managing a club. Speak Memory, My Life as Author and Editor, The Last Empire, The Polysyllabic Spree, The Snows of Kilimanjaro and Other Stories, Goldilocks and Three Bears, Bears Should Share, The Dirt, Confessions of the World's Most Notorious Rock Band, The New Way Things Work, The Little Locksmith, Babe the Gallant Pig, The Bhagavad Gita. I did not pronounce that correctly, I apologize. Old School, Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption, A Story from Different Seasons, Sanctuary, Bambi. See, this is the chapter book rather than the picture book version. I think this is meant to be the one that Rory is referencing in the show. A Bolt from the Blue and Other Essays, Gidget, The Complete Poems by Anne Sexton, Sonnets from the Portuguese, Mutiny on the Bounty, Property, Fodor's Selected Hotels of Europe, The Collected Works of Grey Owl, The Merry Wives of Windsor, Secrets of the Flesh, A Life of Colette, A Month of Sundays, Searching for the Spirit and My Sister, Rick Stevie's Europe Through the Back Door, The True and Outstanding Adventures of the Hunt Sisters, Truth and Beauty. And finally, we have made it to the last page of these books. We have My Life in Orange, Ironweed, Mira Waldo's Travel and Motoring Guide to Europe, Split Rock, The Prophecy, The Girl Will Be Born of Two Foes Created to Conquer and Devastate the Lands, They Will All Fall, The Kreutzer Sonata, Written in Blood, A Monetary History of the United States, Not a Book, Social Origins of Dictatorship and Democracy, Lord and Peasant in the Making of the Modern World, Galapagos, Swimming with Giants, My Encounters with Whales, Dolphins, and Seals, Unless, The Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism, Time and Again, To Have and Have Not, Autobiography of a Face, Eleanor Roosevelt, Volume 1 and Volume 2, The Song Reader, Oracle Knight, The Fortress of Solitude, Monsieur Proust, The Outbreak of the Peloponnesian War, I don't know how to pronounce that, The Bielski Brothers, The True Story of Three Men Who Defied the Nazis, Built a Village in the Forest, and Saved 1,200 Jews. It Takes a Village and Other Lessons Children Teach Us, The Meaning of Consuelo, Quattrocento, Fletch, Henry IV, Part 1, Velvet Underground, The Velvet Underground and Nico, Rescuing Patty Hearst, Growing Up Sane in a Decade Gone Mad, The Fall of the Athenian Empire, Song of the Simple Truth, The Complete Poems of Julia de Burgos, We Owe You Nothing, Punk Planet, The Collected Interviews, What Color is Your Parachute, A Practical Manual for Job Hunters and Career Changers. Man, maybe I need that book. The Portable Nights, I don't know what that is. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, How the Light Gets In, A Comedy of Errors, Dini, A Quiet Storm, Just a Couple of Days, Lisa and David Geordie, The Legend of Bagger Vance, A Novel of Golf and the Game of Life, Marathon Man, The Rough Guide to Europe, 2005. See, I noticed there are a lot of travel type books in here as well as classics because of the trip that Rory and Lorelai take in the show. Sacred Time, Small Island, The Wit and Wisdom of Winston Churchill, The Last Lion, Windsor Spencer Churchill Alone, The Last Lion, William Spencer Churchill, Defender of the Realm, The Memoirs of General W.T. Sherman, complete, the original classic edition. Another The Last Lion, Winston Spencer Churchill, Visions of Glory, Sexus, The Rosy Crucifixion, Ethics. Fiddler on the Roof is one I would be interested in reading because I have seen the musical of Fiddler on the Roof. Here Was a Man, More Tales to Chill Your Bones, Scary Stories number 3. I have read this one right on the last page, and I think the last book on this list that I've read. They're just a fun collection of short, not really scary stories, but I don't know, kids might find it a little scary. But I don't remember finding it scary as a kid. It was more like fun little stories that you would tell at sleepovers. Extravagance, Fatland, and the last one, Mollery, a biography. And that is all the books I have read on the Rory Gilmore reading list and all the potential books that I might read for the upcoming readathon. I know this is a long video. I hope I wasn't too boring. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!